Okay, I can't definitively yet say that I've got the top of the morning pattern down yet, but I'm definitely getting there. I'm getting to the point where, yes, it's even all the way. I've learned things like the blue posts are always on top of the blue post. Like, yeah, let's use this. This blue post has this blue post attached to it, has this one, and the blue posts are attached to their own self. The solid ones are attached to themselves all the way up. And likewise, like this post that is a double crochet and is variegated, there's another one behind here, and then this one, and then another one behind here, and then this one, and so they're all directly on top of each other. As long as you're careful and don't do weird, funky things in the middle. But that's why we do a test piece that's nice and little. So, when I first started doing it, I had all kinds of weirdness happen. Let me see. I started out with this one, and I had a zigzag, and I'm like, okay, that's obviously not what I want to do. And did this one. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Got little sideways crenellations. That's lovely. And then when I was like, well, no, it's supposed to all be like one color on one side with the other peeking through, and the other color on the other side. This one is where I only attach to loops on the front or back. And again, it's kind of cool, but that's not what the pattern is. So all of those little test ones and this one, each and every one of those is double crochet, chain one, double crochet, chain one. And it makes a huge difference where you attach it and how you attach it. Now, the instructions were clear that the solids are always connected to the solids. Like, if you have one solid yarn and one variegated yarn, or yarn A or yarn B, whatever. But, you know, this color yarn, the solid, is always going to be connected to itself. So I never insert my hook into the variegated when I'm using the solid. Okay. Once we know that helps a little bit, but still, I ended up with crenellations, nice little zigzaggy thingy here, instead of what I needed, which is, let's see if will it focus on it? Yay! These little windows, where you have, there's a window formed by the variegated yarn, and you have like a straight line through of the solid color yarn. That's what we want to see, because that's this side, and the other side, where I did it right, should be these more vertical windows that show up in a straight line of the variegated going through. What I was trying to do is every time I added the solid color, because you add I'm about to add the solid color onto the top here, and it'll be up above. And I was always putting it on the front or always putting it on the back after many trial and error. And it seemed like I was definitely getting closer to where I wanted to be, but I was ending up with these little crenellations, like a little castle wall. And it turns out what I think that I've done wrong is that not every row is going to be the same. It's like it repeats every like 4 rows is where the repeat of the pattern is, and you have to keep track of where you are. Fortunately, there's some visual cues. So if I want to keep, come on, focus camera, these windows here. So I've got, here's a window, here's a window, here's a window, and then the next row up I have a window. I think what I need to do is to keep track, and instead of always doing the solid color completely in the front or completely in the back, I need to look at where I am, and I need to do it completely on whatever side it's already on. So if my yarns are both over here, because the way you do the pattern is you go through and you do the light blue, you do the solid color all the way across, then you let go and hope it doesn't unravel. And you go back over here and you pick up the variegated, and with the variegated you're like, okay, I'm going to go in front and behind and in front and behind and in front and behind. And so the variegated is the one that's a little bit more difficult. So the thing is, when I'm going this way, I'm looking at the side that has variegated windows and and the solid color going behind. And because my yarn's over here, I'm right-handed, I want to go from right to left. Once I turn it over, I want to do it again, but now I want to go with, what am I trying to say? I'm looking at the side that has the windows that are more vertical of the solid color, and then a straight line going straight up of the variegated. And I think what I need to do is that, well, because now I'm looking at the side that has the light color, I want to have all of my solid color added on to the front, where the same color as the windows are. So my solid color I always want to have added on to the side that is where my solid color is a prominent window. So when I'm working this way, when I'm looking at this, as I add the solid color, I'm going to add it, and I'm going to be pushing this one back so you can't really see it. But when I get to the point where I'm looking at this side and going from right to left, now I'm looking at the variegated side where the variegated forms the windows, and I'm going to want to push this forward, and I'm going to only want to put the solid color on the back. At least that's my theory. That's where I've come to after doing several little test strips, some of which are like a mess and don't really do what I want them to do. And this one, which is definitely forming a pattern, but it's hard to keep that particular pattern. So it's definitely a pattern that requires a certain degree of concentration as you go. But it's been kind of a fun exercise to figure that out. So anyway, I'll be back in a little bit and see what happens.